Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Borough Radio. My name is James McIntosh, and we're just about to kick off here at the AI Stadium, where Gosport will be hoping for a similar result to the game against Hungerford, where we won 2-0. And as for Beaconsfield, they seem to have hit form at the right time, winning their last two previous games. And their lineup today sees Matthew Rowley starting goal, 4 Samuel Tugwell, 5 Luke Neville, 6 Jacques Copomal, 7 Daniel Bradshaw, 8 Asher Yearwood, 11 James Dobson, 12 Cameron English, 14 Ogawasula, 16 Daniel Roth, and 17 Tom McElroy. And your Gosport lineup today in goal: number 1 Toby Stewart, 2 Harry Kavanagh, 3 Rory Williams, 4 Corey Jordan, 5 Joe Morrison, 14 Jake Cope, 7 Bradley Tarbuck, 19 Danny Hollins, 9 Dan Wooden, and 18 Rafa Ramos, and finally 15 Christian Campbell. Jeremy, we could be in for quite an interesting game here at the AI Stadium. We have come off an impressive quite form record, so we won quite I think we beat Moneyfields, was it on Wednesday, 3-0 thumping victory actually. Rafa, he's in the team today, got a brace in our last game, and we got quite a good win against Hungerford, a 2-0 victory. So what can we expect today?
Tough game. That's what you can expect today. Beware the Rams. That's what I would say to you. I mean, we're in good form, but so are they. I think their league position is deceptive. They maybe think they're 13th, but they have got a really good recent record. They're going to come here with absolutely no fear whatsoever. They're going to be full of confidence, tails up, but then so are we. And then that's what you want, isn't it? You want two of the two form teams going head to head. It's got the ingredients for a great game. Let's hope it is.
Well, I'm not sure if you remember our last time we played Beaconsfield, but it made for a very interesting watch. We had to wait until the 89th minute and we scored 2 goals. One of them was Rory Williams, a last minute penalty, and the last, I think it was Rory Williams. It might have been another goal from the defender, but last time it was Joe Morrison starting for Beaconsfield, and that would probably explain why we couldn't score until the 89th minute.
Well, he's made the switch to Gosport, and now he's an absolute asset for us, isn't he? But I think Beaconsfield are always a tough side, whether they're in form or not. I think a lot of long-term Borough fans will remember the absolute mauling we got up there a couple of years back. I think it was 7-2, I think. It was an absolute nightmare. So it just, look, every game's tough in this division, but we're into a crucial phase of the season now. As tough as this is, we've got to be looking to get something from this game, James. And you referenced Moneyfields in the week. Very young side, did the job they were asked to do, through to the semi-finals of the Portsmouth Senior Cup.
Well, yeah, hopefully it should be a good game. And it will be Gosport shooting from my right to left and Beaconsfield vice versa. Beaconsfield in their all red strip and Gosport in their traditional yellow. But it will be Beaconsfield kicking the game off, and we're just awaiting the referee's whistle now. I think he's just counting all the players, just about to blow the whistle, and we should be all underway. Looks as though it's a good attendance today, actually.
Yeah, another good turnout. I reckon we're probably not quite at the 1,000 mark today, probably about 800 or 900. But to be fair, it's another big crowd. I looked up about 20 to 3, and wow, there's a lot of people here all of a sudden. So here we go.
Well, we are underway, and it will be Beaconsfield kicking off, like I just mentioned there. And Yearwood's on the ball, passing it back to Bradshaw, and it has been intercepted early on by Danny Hollins, just by the halfway line. It's Tarbuck. He passes it back to Corey Jordan. Corey Jordan just looking up, trying to find a Gosport player in front of him, but he has to pass back to Joe Morrison. Morrison playing against his former team, like I mentioned in the introduction. And that's a lovely cross into Christian Campbell, but just caught by the offside trap. And Beaconsfield, we've seen it quite a bit this season. Their defence looks really solid at the back. Like, even taking Joe Morrison out of the equation is still remained solid. And if we look at their stats, it just proves my point. 5 clean sheets in their last 7. 4 goals conceded and 9 goals scored. I mean, it's some stat there, isn't it?
Yeah, very canny manager in John Underhill. Got them very, very well organised. And they're just going to sort of ask a few questions of us here, I think.
Well, it is Beaconsfield on the attack at the moment. It's McElroy on the ball, and he has been brought down to the floor. But the referee doesn't think anything of it, and it does go out for a throw-in just by the right corner flag. And it will be Gosport taking the throw-in by the looks of it. Yeah, it will be. It's going to be Rory Williams taking it, but still a lot of Beaconsfield players in this final third in the Gosport half. Rory Williams launching a throw forward, but it finds Bradshaw. But Bradshaw just can't keep hold of it, and it goes out once again for another Gosport throw-in down this right-hand side.
Yeah, a bit of a scrappy opening couple of minutes, and Beaconsfield just trying to make their presence felt early doors, which is fair enough. Yes, you referenced their recent record. Like I said at the very start of our broadcast, they're the form team of the division at the moment, and you have to be very, very wary of what they can do.
Well, Beaconsfield still keeping hold of the possession before Danny Hollins can eventually clear it. And Dan Wooden might be able to chase this down here, but he loses the race to Copo Mal. But it's good pressure there from Dan Wooden, nearly winning Gosport a throw and nearly getting hold of the Gosport possession in quite a dangerous position. But it's going to be Rafa Ramos trying to push Neville on the ball. But Beaconsfield just keeping cool under the pressure there and maintaining the pressure. They're just taking it over the final third, but once again, Gosport win back possession. And a ball from Tarbuck finds Kavanagh. He's striding down this right-hand channel, but takes the nick off of Vepsa and it goes out for a Gosport throw-in.
You see there, Beaconsfield not giving Kavanagh a yard of space to work with. They were straight on him, shutting him down. So clearly done their homework on us, because you can't afford to give a player like Harry that sort of space to get the quality crosses in that he's so capable of delivering. So let's see where this goes, though.
Well, it's going to be a Kavanagh throw-in. It looks as though Bradley Tarbuck's making the most space for him, but instead he chooses to pass it into Rafa Ramos, just outside of the box. Danny Hollins on the ball. He has to turn and pass back to Corey Jordan. Only red players in front of him. Now we're back in the Gosport half as Joe Morrison passes it all the way back to Toby Stewart. Christian Campbell's calling for the ball in this left-hand channel, but instead Toby has to pass it forward into Joe Morrison. Just on the edge of the central circle in Gosport's half. Gosport just playing it out from the back. Rory Williams on the ball. Trying to lose McElroy. But instead he can pass it back to Jordan. Now Toby Stewart. Once again, Campbell's calling for this ball, but instead he has to pass it to Rory Williams. And Rory Williams trying to play a ball into Bradley Tarbuck there, but it just evades the run of him as it falls back to English and all the way back to Rowley in goal.
Not entirely sure why they're going route one, because I think Beaconsfield will lap it up all day long. But you've got a lovely pitch out there, and I think they should be thinking about keeping the ball on the deck a bit more, because you've got some big centre backs out there. They're just gonna sweep up route one all day long.
Well, it's one of the few grounds actually in Hampshire today where the game has gone on. So it just shows once again how good our pitch is compared to the other teams in this league.
Drained well, and there's lots of, I think it's 5 off in our division today. Plymouth, of course, telling Salisbury the game was on. Salisbury travel all the way down only to be told that is off. So that is probably the most height of frustration. But this pitch here, never in doubt, not at all. That's credit to John and the ground staff.
Well, as you do say that, Beaconsfield have won a free kick after Corey Jordan brought down Dobson, and it will be on the edge of the central circle in Gosport's half. It will be Dobson taking the free kick, the man who won it. A lot of big players in the Beaconsfield Gosport box, and it's Dobson with a free kick. And it falls to the back post of Togwell. He does head it towards goal. Toby Stewart has to get down low to deflect it out and just cause an early threat. I think it may have been offside there by the looks of it. I'm not sure if it was flagged or not.
No, I think it might have been a foul because the flag's down. But I'll tell you what, just shows you where the threat comes.
Well, it was Togwell with the header there, their skipper, and he could be a man to watch out for. He's one of the oldest players in the league, actually, aging 40 years old. Had a lot of experience with the leagues above, Scunthorpe, and he actually started his playing career before I was even born in 2002. 4 years before I was born, actually.
Yeah. But having said that, also let's give credit to Luke Neville, their captain, also a highly influential player for Beaconsfield too.
Well, I found it interesting doing a bit of research on Beaconsfield. It was their manager who I thought was most interesting, John Underwood. But I'll come back to that a bit later on, as it is Beaconsfield on the attack. Dobson leading the line, but it's been passed out wide. The cross has been put into the middle, but it's just too hard hit. And it does look as though it will roll out for a Gosport goal kick here. Yeah. But I was just alluding to it there, the Beaconsfield manager. He said he wanted to aim for National League, trying to get that promotion. And he is a manager who has represented the National League before with Slough Town, along with a lot of the players. Yeah. So it's like that going to be one of the aims in the future. Maybe not this season with their positioning this season, but they do still look a solid team.
It won't be this season, I think. And I don't think that's too controversial. I think they're a bit too far back to be featuring. But to be said, who's to say they won't make a late run for the playoffs? It's possible, but unlikely. And I'm not being disrespectful. But having been to Beaconsfield, they've got the ground, they've got the setup. Who knows?
Well, Dan Wooden is just trying to chase down the deep ball, which he does win. Dan Wooden goes for goal, and it goes just over the top corner. It looked as though that was heading towards the top left corner there. I think it might have even skinned the crossbar there. But it was a good effort for Gosport, and that has to be the closest of the game so far.
Tight angle, the shot was always rising. Yeah, maybe just clip the top of the bar, but Dan did well. The angle was narrowing for him the whole time. So very, very hard. A difficult chance, a half chance in my opinion. But Still, it's an opening for Gosport, so both sides have had one clear opening each so far while you're doing your tweeting. Yeah, 0-0, 7 minutes played, and I think it's been quite lively, and both sides having a go at it. But I think, to be honest, Beaconsfield have probably shaded the first 7 minutes. To be honest,
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. They've probably had the most possession out of both teams, but still, I would say that's been the closest shot of the half so far. Like Jeremy just alluded to, it has been 7 minutes played here at the AEI Stadium. Still, Gosport nil, Beaconsfield nil. But as I do say that, they are on the attack their away side. Currently, Dobson down this left-hand channel, doing multiple step overs before a ball can eventually be launched into the Gosport box, but it's headed away by Jake Cope. Gosport still on the ball. Copo Mal in this right hand channel passes it out wide into Bradshaw. Bradshaw trying to dance his way past Christian Campbell, but instead gets a pass across. It's going to be Roth walking in the box, but it's well cut out by Christian Campbell. But Roth still does well enough to win Beaconsfield a corner. But it's Christian Campbell there winning a corner. He's looked really solid coming in. He's done defensive work. He's done attacking bits of play. Could he be a key man today, which determines the result?
yeah, and I'll tell you what, the man he's just thwarted, Ada Okorei, was also a key man for Beaconsfield. I'll tell you what, he had to be honest, he had to be smart there because Okorei was trying to find a way around the back, and he was the last man.
Well, yeah, exactly. Be interesting to see how they do with the corner, especially just seeing how they did with the past free kick. And it's a deep corner, but it's headed away by Joe Morrison. Still not properly cleared. Jake Cope might be able to clear it just outside of the Gosport box, but it trickles all the way back to Danny Hollins, who has to go on the floor and smash it out once again to Jake Cope. But Gosport just flirting with this touchline, still in the Gosport half, 20 yards out from goal. Jake Cope just trying to escape the Beaconsfield man, but he does do well enough to eventually clear it there, and it was good pressure from Bradshaw.
Yeah, but I thought that the defending was a little too relaxed for my liking there. It was a bit of a last-ditch clearance, and Gosport never really dealt with that, I don't think. So Beaconsfield kept the pressure up, and they've got a throw in a quite advanced position on the right here, James, and another chance to sort of turn the screw a bit.
Well, it's Bradshaw with the throw in, and it's passed straight to McElroy. McElroy back to Bradshaw. Bradshaw with a cross into the back post, but it's headed away by Kavanagh, but still put into the danger zone. And once again, it's had to be headed out by Danny Hollins. Still not properly cleared by Gosport. Roy Williams has to come in this time to try and get it, and he does do well enough just to intercept it there. And this time it's going to be Corey Jordan lifting the ball to Dan Wooden, but Dan Wooden can't get ahead on it as Neville clears it. Yeah.
Just thinking about Morrison and playing against his old club. He lives in northwest London, and he's got a lot of mates still at Beaconsfield. A bit surreal for him today, I think.
Yeah, I think it would be, considering how many years he spent there. I believe he got, out of his time at Beaconsfield, he got 4 Player of the Months, which just shows how good of a player he was.
And a good acquisition for us, anyway.
But it's Kavanagh down this right-hand channel, just by the right corner flag. Kavanagh passing it back to Tarbuck on the edge of the box, who lifts the ball in, trying to find Dan Wooden, but it's headed away by Tugwell. Still, Bradley Tarbuck gets hold of the ball, passes it back to Danny Hollins. Looked as though McElroy was going to put a bit of pressure on him there, but no, it's well dealt with by Gosport. That's put all the way back in by Toby Stewart.
Yeah, a little bit disappointed that attack ran out of fizz there, and they've gone all the way back to Toby. But again, you've got to hand credit to Beaconsfield. They kept it tight. They didn't allow Gosport any room to play there. But here we might try.
Well, a ball was well won by Rafa Ramos there, and he passed it out wide to Christian Campbell on the left-hand channel. But Christian has just loosed it to Copo Mal. Passing it forward into Yearwood. Yearwood, that's good skill from the cam there. But it's a brilliant tackle by Christian Campbell there, just winning the back for Gosport. But Yearwood, once again, having a battle with Joe Morrison, the former teammates going at it. And Joe Morrison does do the best there, just winning a foul for Gosport on the halfway line. It was a good battle between the two players there.
Yeah, I mean, he lost his footing, Joe. It was a foul because it was so that is complete and utter waste.
I was going to say, it was by Rory Williams there.
Complete and utter waste.
I think he may have seen Kavanagh just running down, but
he'll be
totally.
Disappointed with that, Rory.
Yeah.
That was a complete and utter waste of a free kick. Can't be that wasteful, I'm afraid. But that said, just going back to the Morrison incident, yes, it was a foul, and then obviously he was trapped on the floor with the ball between his legs. No imagination there, people. And they were trying to get it out, but the referee had already blown for the free kick. But having said that, I still think he's going to be key for Gosport at the back today. And also credit, I think, to Luke Neville, who dealt with the initial chance at the other end for Beaconsfield. So I think defence is very much on top at the moment.
12 minutes played here at the AI Stadium. Still Gosport nil, Beaconsfield nil. I'll run you through some of the other results as well. Bracknell nil, Harrow Borough nil. Didcot nil, AFC Totten nil. Still 0-0 here, like I said. Hendon nil, Chesham nil. Swindon nil, Tiverton nil. And as for the rest of the games, they've all been postponed. But yeah, as I do say that, it's Gosport currently playing out from the back once again. It seems as though we're struggling to get out of our half at the moment. And when we do try and get out of our half, we just try and look to hoof it forward almost. Do you feel as though that's going to be the tactic today?
Shouldn't be, because as we've discussed, I think here we go again. Look, trying to sort of route one it up towards Jake Cope, but no, I think they're going to have to be a little bit cleverer than that, to be honest. Beaconsfield are sort of quite happy to deal with the direct deliveries from Gosport. Keep it on the deck, pass around, be patient, look for the opening, because there will be one.
Well, exactly. And another battle I think's been really interesting in the early couple minutes has been Copomal versus Christian Campbell. Both players look like they really want to go for it. Copomal looks definitely good going back and looks as though he's tracking Christian Campbell pretty well. And I wonder if that's some of the research Beaconsfield have done in this game.
You've got to remember how professional the Southern League has become in terms of you're doing your homework on your opponents. And I have absolutely no doubt that they've done their homework on us and we on them.
And as I do say that, Gosport is on the attack. Bradley Tarbart leading the line. He plays a through ball into Rafa Ramos, but once again, it's well intercepted by Copomal, who is going to take it out. It looked as though it was going to run out for a corner, but it's well kept in by the defender, who eventually lifts it forward into Dobson.
But look at the difference there, James. On the floor, there was an opening.
Well, exactly that, to be fair. It's Copomal once again winning back the ball, but Gosport might be able to get another counter attack. It's Bradley Tarbart just on the edge of the box. Tarbart trying to put a ball into Rafa Ramos, but once again, no miscommunication there from the players. And is that one of the problems? It's looking like that could be one of the problems in the early couple minutes. There's just no communication.
Just wondered why the game's come to a standstill, but there's a Beaconsfield
player
on the floor. I think it's Sam Togwell. I did wonder why it all come to a bit of a stop, but that's why. Sam just needs to have a bit of attention from his physio, but I think it gives us a chance to have a look at the first quarter of James, and what are we seeing? Okay, Pompey and Oxford 1-1. That's good. That's good news for Pompey.
Well, it's a massive game in League One, isn't it?
Huge, yeah. But it gives us a chance just to have a look at this. So, quarter of an hour gone, goalless. Defence is on top. Not many openings, and it's clear to me that both sides have done the homework on the other. But just look around. Look at the amount of people in again. I'd like to know whether we've hit 1,000 again, but my gut says probably about 800 or 900.
Well, you know what's even more staggering? Like we just alluded to there, Pompey are playing at home. There's a lot of big teams playing at home. So we've got AFC Portchester in the local area. I'm not sure if Havant's game's still going ahead, but still a lot of local teams. But their fans, they're choosing to go to Gosport. But we're just going to have to break. It's Togwell who's going to be coming off.
No,
maybe not.
Maybe not, because they don't have a sub prepared.
It looks as though it's going to be... No, the referee, he's just made a decision. So it's going to be Togwell coming off. We still haven't seen a scoreboard for who's coming on yet.
No, I think they're going to have to get the substitute prepared, James, because that's happened so quickly that...
Nobody's expected it.
But it's going to be Maximilian.
It's going to be,
yeah. Yarzabek.
10 for 94. Yeah,
that's Togwell that's gone
10
off, isn't it?
for 4, yeah. He's got 10 for 94.
Okay, let's do that then. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, substitution for Beaconsfield Town in the 16th minute. Coming on number 10, Maximilian Yarzabek, replacing number 4, Sam Togwell.
Well, that's most certainly a very interesting substitution there, bringing on an attacker, Yarzabek, for a defender. But we have seen Togwell, he got 2 goals in his last match against Walton and Hersham, so maybe a defender who can go up and attack.
Yes, we'll have to see how this affects the Beaconsfield game plan, I think. But let's give that a few minutes and see. But that's going to be a huge blow for them because Togwell's a massive player. We'll see.
Well, play has resumed here at the AI Stadium. Still Gosport 0, Beaconsfield 0. Gosport once again playing out from the back as it falls all the way back to Rory Williams. He's got Christian Campbell once again making a run in front of him. But it looks as though he's going to have to pass back to Bradley Tarbart. Nope. Instead, he does make that decision to pass it down to Christian Campbell, just down by the Gosport touchline. Rory Williams passing it forward into Jake Cope. 16 minutes played here at the AI Stadium. Still Gosport 0, Beaconsfield 0. Gosport, they've come closest in this first quarter of an hour, thanks to a shot from Downwood and just narrowly missing the top left corner. But no, other than that, I don't think the fans watching, they haven't really missed too much, have they?
No, but then again, you look at it for what it is. It's been a defensive battle so far, both defences dominating, and there's not been a lot of.
Well, it's brilliant skill from Christian Campbell. Down this left-hand channel, passes the ball into Rafa Ramos. Rafa Ramos tees a shot up for Bradley Tarbuck, who goes for a shot, smashing it straight into the substitution in Jazabek. But Beaconsfield might be able to break here. It's Dobson running down this left-hand channel, looking ahead of him, lifts the ball into Roth. But Roth can't get on the end of it. Once again, a battle between Joe Morrison and Roth. But Joe Morrison comes out victorious in this battle as he wins it back. Gosport might be able to break it. Jake Cope in the centre of the park, just in this central circle. But just taking a bit too long there for Gosport to push players up. I think Pat and Joe having a word with the players there.
Yeah, momentum was lost there, but that was a lovely little spell of play, end-to-end play from both teams.
Well, it's another lovely bit of play.
Lively.
Rafa Ramos down this left-hand channel once again, but the referee does blow up for a foul. Offside, yeah.
Flag's gone up, but
Well, it looks as though we're starting to favour this left-hand channel with Christian Campbell once again.
yeah, it's been our most effective way forward so far. But going back to the shot there from Brad, I think again credit to Beaconsfield. They saw the threat, they closed him down. The shot immediately hit a defender, and he had no space to get the shot away. But I think I'm beginning to wonder if this is going to be another one-goal game.
Yeah.
The way this is going at the moment.
Well, speaking to Mark Summerhill midweek, he was actually claiming a lot of these new signings who are starting to come into the Gosport team, like Jake Cope, like Christian Campbell, they are starting to be brought in for this new formation change. I might have to come back to that. As Dobson, he does line up a shot, just dragging it wide of the right post. It looks as though it would have beaten Toby Stewart, who dived quite late on. Dobson just nearly catching Toby Stewart off guard there from 25 yards out and nearly beating the keeper.
25 yards diagonal shot, angle was difficult, but didn't have a bit of fizz on it, that shot, and Toby did see it late, so it's probably as well it was only slightly off target. But just shows you that Beaconsfield are a team playing with confidence, and so are Gosport. And yeah, I think when they're prepared to shoot from that distance, that shows the confidence that's running through their team at the moment.
Well, Joe Morrison trying to lift the ball once again forward into Christian Campbell. Can Christian Campbell chase it down? But no, it's well collected by Rowley.
Comes back to the route one, doesn't work. I think they need to stop doing it. It's not working.
No, we just seem to keep going for this lift ball and just smashing it forward, really, by the looks of it. I'm not really keen on that tactic, but either way.
Sorry, but when you have a pitch that's heavy, okay, barely playable, and you can't physically play it on the deck, that's the time for route one. Or if you've got the wind and the elements behind you, that's the time for route one. When you've got a pitch as wide and as good and as playable as this, get it down. Persevere. They found success with the left channel. Persevere with it.
Well, Gosport, once again, a player has gone down. This time it's Harry Kavanagh going down. A lot of injuries in this first 20 minutes.
It's been a bit attritional, to be fair. And out goes Liv, our physio, to sort of have a look at what's gone on with Harry. But it's been quite an attritional sort of opening 20 minutes. And both the physios have been quite busy so far.
Well, it's Owen Borges warning up. I wonder if he could be the player replacing him if he does have to come off.
I don't know if he needs to come off there, James, but it's too early to sort of make that. But just watch for the signal from Olivia, the physio, if that is needed. But he looks quite prone, actually, does Cav, doesn't he?
Well, looking down at the pitch as well, it just gives both sides to chat to their management team at the moment. So we can see Danny Hollins, Rory Williams and Jake Cope just having a quick word with Pat and Joe. What would you be saying if you were Pat and Joe right now to the Gosport players? Stop hoofing the ball and start playing it on the floor.
First thing I'd say, look, just stop the route one. They're dealing with it all day long. Secondly, be more relaxed in terms of how you're passing. Look for the players that are making runs, play it on the floor. And also, be aware, because Beaconsfield are so quick on the counter-attack. When they're counter-attacking you, don't back off, come and meet them. That's what they're doing to us. So
we're getting changed.
Well, will be Owen Borges coming on for Harry Kavanagh, an early substitution, and why they're making that substitution, I will run you through some more of the scores in the Southern Premier League. Still Gosport 0, Beaconsfield 0, Bracken 0, Harrow Borough 0, Didcot 0, AFC Tottenham 0, Hendon 0, Chesham United 0, Plymouth Parkway, Salisbury, that's been postponed. Poole Hungerford, that's also been postponed. Swindon Supermarine, Tiverton 0-0, Walton and Hersham Hanwell 0-0. So every team actually in the Southern Premier League, it's all goalless.
Yeah, Cavan has gone straight down the tunnel into the treatment room. That's not a good sign. So that's a headache that Pat and Joe didn't need. But if you're going to put on a creative player to replace him, why not Pedro Borges? Because since he's arrived on loan from Exeter, he's actually been a very lively player, and maybe one that Beaconsfield haven't reckoned on.
Well, a bit like Beaconsfield, I could imagine this is going to have to see a change of tactics now. Owen Borges, he's not exactly a right back. I'd say more of a cam. So, how would you say we're going to look up now? Maybe
Difficult.
play.
Give it a couple of minutes, and we'll sort of have to see how that. I think Tarbuck's dropped back, hasn't he? So
Yeah, by the
maybe
looks
he's
of
gonna
it,
play
yeah.
that role.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how it actually affects the rest of the game. But like I said, still 0-0 here at the AI Stadium. Gosport just winning back possession thanks to Rafa Ramos. Just by the Gosport dugouts. Rafa now striding forward using his pace. He does well enough just to win Gosport a corner. It's going to be Christian Campbell taking the throw in just on the halfway line. He's going to take a short one to Jake Cope. He had Yearwood next to him, so bit of a nervy throw in there, nearly losing possession, but Jake Cope once again cool under pressure.
Yeah, 22 minutes 0-0, but it's again. I think there was a bit of a shove in the back on Jake Cope there as well. I don't think that helped him when he was trying to pass, and he gets a shove in the back. But doesn't matter. Gosport just trying to persevere now with Borges, but he's lost the ball straight away.
Yeah, wasn't the greatest first touch, but still, Gosport do have a throw in. It's going to be Tarbuck passing it back to Corey Jordan. And it actually, I'm not sure, it looks as though Corey Jordan might be occupying this right back role.
Three.
Yeah,
It's a back three.
Joe Morrison in the centre thirds
Yeah.
and Rory Williams in the left back third.
So I'm wondering if they've gone 3-5-2.
Rory Williams just trying to pick out Bradley Tarbuck in the right hand channel. But once again, English doing well. He does nod it out for a Gosport corner. So who's it going to be taking the corners now? Christian Campbell.
Campbell's sort of certainly heading in that direction, but I'm wondering if it will or won't be actually. I'm just waiting to see who it's going to be.
Well, Campbell, he's already got one assist
Campbell.
from the corner.
It is Campbell. He's now going to get the ball and trot over to that corner flag on the right hand side. So I'm not seeing him take too many set pieces. So it'll be interesting to see what he comes up with here.
Well, his first set piece with Gosport, I'm not sure if you remember, but it came from Salisbury, last minute of the game, whipped ball in, met Bradley Tarbuck,
Yes,
got us a late goal.
Probably the biggest roar I've ever heard here in the last few years.
It's Campbell with the corner, nearly finding the head of Rafa Ramos, but it's punched away by Rowley. And trickles all the way back to Fraser, who lifts one forward, and that's actually a lovely pass. McElroy now striding forward, trying to pass it out wide. And it's gone for goal. And it's not exactly the best take from Toby Stewart. Hits him in the stomach there. He can't have done too much about it, but then calmly recovered by the keeper, who gets down low to the floor and gathers it.
Caught him by surprise, I think, and it just goes to show, like I said a little while ago, Beaconsfield are a very, very good counter-attacking side, and we've struggled every time. They've caught us out like that every time. So I think that's something that Joe and Pat will have to be thinking about. What can we do to counter that threat?
Morrison just moving down the centre of the park, passing it into Borges there. Borges back to Tarbuck. Just trying to exchange a 1-2 between the two players there, but in the end it lost possession. Back to Rowley in goal. Now it's Jake Cope with the charge down. Trying to charge down Copo now. But Beaconsfield just once again doing well under the pressure. And that's really been the whole story of the first 25 minutes. Beaconsfield looked really good under pressure, whereas Gosport, we just seem to want to hoof it forward.
Yeah, they're gonna have to stop doing it. I've said it 2 or 3 times, and I don't want to be too repetitive, but they're gonna have to sort of think of another way around the problem.
Well, it's Jordan, around 30 yards out from goal, just looking for options. He's got no one around him, but he chooses a lovely through ball into Borges, who does well to get that. Playing it out wide to Rafa Ramos in this right-hand channel. Lifting one at the back post into Christian Campbell. Campbell now in the Beaconsfield box. Let's see what he can do. He goes for a goal, but it's well blocked by Jazabek. And now hoofed away by Jake Cope.
Yeah,
just a wasted opportunity.
Yeah, first time shot from Cope, but it was always rising the minute it left his boot. Disappointing. But having said that, the positive there, Gosport made an opening doing what? They were patient. They kept the ball on the ground. They didn't panic. They sort of had a look and they forced an opening. And that is what they need to keep doing. That's the key.
Well, it's going to be a goal kick from Rowley, and Matthew Rowley is similar to Toby Stewart, still a young goalkeeper. He played for Bognor Regis last season and helped to get Bognor to the Sussex League Cup final, along with playing in the Premier League a couple of times for the Reading Youth League. So he could be a quite interesting goalkeeper for the future. And as I do say that, it's Borges who's fouled. Looked a bit of a nasty foul, and I believe the referee's got a yellow card out of his pocket.
Yeah, he had his heels clipped. He was past the defender, so it was a bit cynical, to be fair. 16.
Well,
that
it's
is gonna be
16.
Danny Roth is going to get yellow carded for Beaconsfield. I think that's what you call. I think that's what you call taking one for the team, if I'm honest.
Well, this time it gives Gosport once again another good opportunity to get a lot of tall players in the Beaconsfield box, and maybe that's where we can break. Maybe when the lob ball can actually come in handy.
When you've got set piece situations, James, the long ball, you're putting pressure on. Let's see what they can do this time.
It's Rory Williams with a free kick, trying to find the head of Dan Wooden, but Rowley once again comes out having to collect it, and it's a cool collection from the keeper there.
Straight down the keeper's throat. I mean, he was looking for Wooden. Wooden really, for me, has not been in the game at all so far. He's been very quiet. He's been a little isolated, if I'm honest with you. And Beaconsfield have clearly earmarked him as one of the main threats. He's always had one, maybe two defenders shadowing him, so he's going to have to work a bit harder if he's going to get anything out of this.
Well, it's Beaconsfield on the attack once again. But it's well dealt with by the Gosport defence as it trickles all the way back to Christine Campbell just outside of the Gosport box. Christine Campbell using his pace to run it out of play by the right hand corner flag. And I believe it's Bradshaw and Christine Campbell there just tugging for the throw in. Unsure whether who won the throw in there.
Throw for me, but Campbell did well because he kept calm under pressure there, and it was the lesser of the two evils. Did he do that, or did he let the man get away from him?
Well, it's Bradshaw to Copermal. Copermal once again lost by Beaconsfield. Maybe Gosport can win it here. Dan Wooden, just in the centre of the park. He's got options in front of him. He plays a through ball into Rafa Ramos in this left-hand channel. Rafa in acres of space, but no Gosport players in the box for him to pass to. Rafa Ramos doing multiple step-overs, still keeping hold of the ball, but that is a rubbish cross. Just lifting one over the box and lifting one over the keeper's bar. Definitely something he won't want to look back on.
Yeah, he'll be disappointed with that, I think. But to be fair to him, he had to hold the ball up because he had no support. 3 Borough players were late arriving, but then when the cross came, he didn't get it quite as it wanted to be. So, but again, it's just showing you when Gosport persevere with the ball on the deck, they do start to make these openings.
Well, it was Bradshaw there nearly just losing the ball to Christine Campbell, who did well from the charge down. But Joe Morrison once again going down. And it's a constant fight by the looks of it between Joe Morrison and Roth.
Yeah, former teammates and good friends, I believe. So, yeah, I'd imagine that's quite a keen fought battle that will go, but they'll forget about it in the bar afterwards, I'm sure of that.
Well, it's a short free kick taken, and it will be passed back to the man who was just in that scrap, Joe Morrison. And it's Morrison just in the central circle, passing it out wide into Corey Jordan, who's now occupying this right back role after Harry Kavanagh had to make a swift exit after being injured early on, along with one of the Beaconsfield players into Togwell. But so far, it's been half an hour played here at the AI Stadium. Still Gosport 0, Beaconsfield 0.
I think when you look back at the first sort of half an hour of this, you can see why Beaconsfield are the form team in the division. Had they not had a sort of a bit of a sticky start to the season, I think they'd have been a lot closer to us than they are in league position.
Whilst Rafa Ramos around 30 yards out from goal, passing it into Jake Cope. Jake Cope has options in front of him, but he passes to choose it left into Christine Campbell. Christine Campbell passes it back to Jake Cope. Jake Cope might try and take on Coper now, but he's passed back into Christine Campbell. Campbell looking like he's going to pass one into the middle, finding Rafa Ramos, but the flag goes up. It looked as though it was quite a nice finish there, but once again, still collected by Rowley, but either way, it wouldn't have counted.
The flag went up instantly from the assistant on the far side. But again, a really well-made opening, and I think Gosport are getting the idea now that that's what they have to do if they're going to prise that door open.
Whilst Danny Hollins intercepting a ball, Christian Campbell just doing well enough there to keep it in hold of the possession. Let's just say it might have gone out there, and Danny Hollins purposely tripping Roth. The Beaconsfield player not taking any of it there, and I think he wants Danny Hollins to get carded.
No, he's not. They're all right. They're shaking hands. They're okay. And Hollins has apologised. It caught him. There's no doubt about it. But there's no malice in that. Danny's apologised. The defender's accepted. Move on. But yeah, free kick in which Gosport now need to be a little bit sharper and just watch for the threat that's coming at them now.
Well, the free kick just taken inside of the Beaconsfield half, around 5 yards out from the halfway line. Yazabek on the ball, passing it out wide into Bradshaw. Bradshaw, he had lots of Gosport players around him, but did well enough to pass it into Yearwood. Yearwood escaping numerous Gosport players. Has to pass it out wide. Copo Mal Passing it into Bradshaw. Bradshaw teeing up a shot, and it might just dip down. It looked as though it was going to dip down towards that top left corner there, and it was another good shot from Bradshaw.
Yeah, that a little bit too high, because if that had been a bit lower, that might have just dipped under the bar and it had been 1-0. But again, good opportunity from Beaconsfield, and you've got to hand it to Yearwood. He made a really good 20, 30 yard run, took out 2 or 3 of the Gosport defenders to open that door a little bit. Fair play to him for that. It was good football.
Gosport on the attack. Jake Cope leading the line. He's got Christian Campbell beside him, and he's going to have to choose that option as there's no other Gosport players free in the box. Jake Cope lifting the ball into Rafa Ramos. Rafa winning the ball on the edge of the box, lining up a shot, but the reflection falls to Dan Wooden. Dan Wooden going for a shot. Once again, smashing one over the bar. And if I'm being honest, Dan Wooden, he's really not looked very good at all in the first 35 minutes.
But then you've got to look at that. He had the defender at his back. He had to try and turn and get the shot. He was being given no space at all, which is thorough defending from our visitors. And Dan is being marked out of the game, I think, is an accurate sort of summary of how he's played this afternoon. And as a consequence, he's not really been in the game. But we're getting towards half time now. I think both managers have got a lot of food for thought. I know Pat and Joe are going to want to think about possibly changing things a little, but we'll see. It's an intriguing game. Without being too exciting, it is intriguing.
Well, I suppose the good thing is, once again, we have got a number of substitutions who could make a difference coming on from the bench.
Yeah.
One of them being Alfie Stanley, who got a goal in his last game.
Yeah.
I could see that being quite an interesting substitution with his pace and finishing abilities.
Yes, and then you've got the experience and guile of Diaz, who I think can come on. Whilst he's not the quickest player, his experience and his know-how could unlock this defence. You know, it's all sort of what could happen in the second half.
Well, Gosport, they were just trying to create another counter-attack. Christian Campbell with a cross, but it was well dealt with by Neville, who headed it back to Rowley in goal. And in the end, the attack came to nothing. But play has resumed. It was a tug of war there, just between Corey Jordan and Dobson. To be fair, I would say that's been one of the most interesting points of this game. The feistiness between the two teams.
Feistiness, but no nastiness.
No.
And that's what you want. You want a bit of competitive spirit without it falling over into, you have that undercurrent of nastiness that then spills over. We haven't had that. And it's been, like I said, intriguing game, well fought between the two teams. And that is exactly what you want.
Well, it was a quick free kick taken, but as soon as it was pretty much kicked, the referee on our right side raising the flag, signalling offside, and Gosport doing well with the offside trap there.
Yeah, 10 minutes to break then, still 0-0 here. But defence is on top largely. Both teams, again, like Salisbury, cancelling each other out. It's a very similar game to that, I have to be honest.
Well, Joe Morrison on the ball, just on the edge of the centre circle in Gosport's half, having to turn back to Toby Stewart in goal, as once again every player has been marked in the Gosport half. Christian Campbell in the left-hand channel, he's the player who's once again calling for the ball.
Just have a look at how the defence is set up for Beaconsfield. We'll go through it in a minute. But
well, Gosport, it's Dan Wooden who wins the ball just on the edge of the Beaconsfield box, and it's
really
Rafa Ramos.
save.
He goes for a shot. It looked as though it was heading towards that top left corner. Rowley had to get down low, make a good save there, and it was a smashing save from the keeper.
Outstanding save from him. I think they owe him great credit because that was on its way in.
Yeah, good save. Well, gives Gosport a corner. It's going to be Bradley Tarbart taking the corner by the looks of it. A lot of players heading towards the Beaconsfield box, but it was Rafa Ramos with this shot there, forcing a good save from Rowley, and that must be the best shot of the game so far.
Certainly the closest, and the keeper made an instinctive reaction save.
Well, it's Tarbach with the corner. A lot of players moving in the box now. It's going to be hit towards the back post. Joe Morrison heading it down and just narrowly skimming the right post.
Yeah, I think Beaconsfield had it covered, I think. But yeah, Morrison did well. Downward header, just wide. End of that particular opportunity. But Gosport, you may have noticed, have just upped their game just a little bit in the last 5 minutes. They're sort of moving up through the gears, which is what I think they're going to have to do.
Well, we are known as the second half FC, so maybe that could add something to the game.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
But a goal kick has been taken. Corey Jordan winning the ball, lifting it forward into Dan Wooden, who loses it to Jazabek. The ball just being battled on by Jazabek, playing a through ball into McElroy. McElroy on the edge of the box, playing a through ball, trying to find the run of Dobson at the back post there, but trickles all the way back to Borges. Borges trying to win the ball off of English, but Beaconsfield win it.
Yeah, that was a bit of a 50-50 one for me. Could have been Referee could have maybe given that as a foul, but he's just let play go on, which is okay. Beaconsfield again just trying to prise the door open, but Gosport dealing with it and looking quite confident in possession at the moment.
Still Gosport 0, Beaconsfield 0. Scope. Passing it into Tarbuck. Back to Joe Morrison. Lifting the ball into Bowen Owen Borges, but once again calmly collected by Rowley. Passing it forward into Bradshaw. Bradshaw up against Christine Campbell. But Rory Williams there just doing well to intercept the ball, coming forward out of the position. But the ball was just smashed forward there by Copo Mal. Looks as though it might have matched the run with McElroy there. But Toby Stewart had to come out of his box, just hit it forward, and now Gosport still in the possession. Joe Morrison.
Not many opportunities for them.
No.
I mean, he's just stopped. Almost came to an absolute stop there, didn't he, with the ball at his feet? But you looked up and you see that all avenues are just shut down by players in red shirts. So again,
the referee blown up for another foul.
Yeah, foul to free kick to Beaconsfield. Sorry.
Well, it was Copa Mal with a foul there, just winning it, and he's the man who takes it, passing it out wide to English. Now Dobson on the ball. Back to English. Passing it forward into Dobson. Just in the Gosport centre third. Now Dobson. Move to the centre role. Out wide into 14. Might be able to get past Christine Campbell there. Once again doing numerous step overs, but Christine Campbell holds his man well, winning the ball, and maybe Rafa Ramos might be able to clear it there. Just stumbling before clearing, and I think he smashed it just straight out of the stadium there.
It's come here almost does actually, but I'm going to put it out there that I think Campbell's been Gosport's man of the match.
Oh, easily, yeah.
His defending has been first class, and I think if he'd not been out there, we might have been a goal down by now, to be honest.
Well, it's a quick throw and take in. McElroy just down the right-hand corner flag. Christian Campbell takes a throw there as he's thrown to the floor, but play has resumed.
No, the referee's not having it because I think Beaconsfield felt that Gosport wants to take a quick one, but no, the referee's not having it. He just wants things to settle down just a little bit. Gives Gosport a couple of seconds just to think about what they want to do, and they're going to try and play it out, but I think this is a mistake.
Well, it's falling back to Toby Stewart in goal. It was McElroy with a charge down there.
That was a mistake.
They could have done
and just relieved the pressure on their last third because they played it across their own 6-yard box, and immediately Beaconsfield is shutting them down. So,
well, it looks as though this game, Gosport are just going for the easy option every time. They're not looking for the hard options, and they're not making the runs. They're making light work of it, and I think this is something Pat and Joe are looking at going to have to tell the boys. But 40 minutes played at the AI Stadium. It's still Gosport 0, Beaconsfield 0. A thrown on the far side. Go on.
I'll tell you in a sec. Let's watch this.
Well, it's Danny Holland's on the edge of the box, but once again losing possession to Yazabek, who's had another good game since coming on. And the ball has been lifted forward, trying to find the run of 14, but it's trickled all the way back to Toby Stewart.
I'm seeing that Hendon are holding Chesham at 0-0 at the moment. Wow.
Well, I suppose when Chesham are so far in front, does that even affect us now?
Nice one, Tom.
Well, it's Rory Williams. Yeah, but when Chesham are that far in front, does it even affect Gosport anymore?
Yes and no. I think I agree. They're not the team we should be focusing on because I think it's going to take a massive loss of form for Chesham to throw their top spot away. However, it never hurts to see the leaders slip up.
Well, it's Rafa Ramos just trying to thread a ball into... offside immediately recognised.
Campbell straight off, and Beaconsfield weren't slow in letting the assistant know what they thought, and then he agreed, but he sort of strayed off a little bit.
Well, in retaliation, Beaconsfield will be getting a free kick. Rowley just heading up to take it. Just 25 yards into Beaconsfield own half, and he passes it out wide into Bradshaw. Just by Pat and Joe. But Rory Williams there just as well to get on the end of the pass and win it back for Gosport possession. Ultimately winning the Gosport free kick. It's going to be Danny Hollands taking the free kick, passing it back to Joe Morrison. And Rory Williams there just doing well enough to win Gosport a foul.
I just think they need to slow it down when they get free kicks, right, and maybe consider stop taking the short ones in their when they're in their own final third, because Beaconsfield are closing them down so quickly that just stop and have a little look. Don't rush,
Well, he has about doing well there, just tossing and turning and escaping Owen Borges. But it's Yearwood striding down this centre third, but it's well cut out by Danny Hollins, who does a sliding challenge and passes it back to Rory Williams. Rory Williams once again taking his time. I think the Gosport fans starting to get a bit agitated, and Jake Cope having to run it out of play. You can understand the Gosport fans' frustration in the first 40 minutes. Gosport just haven't really done too much.
No, they've not been at their best this afternoon, but then at the same time, you have to hand it to Beaconsfield. They've come here with a clearly orchestrated game plan, okay, and they have shut us down.
Well, you can see the frustration there just from Dan Wooden purposely chipping Copo now. And I'm not sure if you can hear the fan down there, but
Yeah,
someone's definitely not happy.
He's
Yeah.
a bit animated, I think. And I see the stewards are having a little look-see there. And but again, what I was saying, back to what I was saying, credit to Beaconsfield, and the manager is getting.
It's going to get a yellow.
Yeah.
Getting a warm cheer from the Gosport fans. I don't think the manager seems too happy about the decision.
But anyway, we've got 3 minutes till the end, till the end of the first half, and it gives a chance for both sides to get in, have a drink, reset, think about it, for the managers to get their instructions out. And I'd like to think the second half will open up just a little bit.
Well, it was Christian Campbell there, just doing well enough to body McElroy off the ball, just running it out for a Gosport goal kick. I wonder how many minutes will be added on as well. I could see around 3 or 4.
We've had 2 injuries that have resulted in 2 substitutions, so I think we're looking at about 4 minutes. But we'll find out within the next minute or so what it'll be.
Well, it's Rory Williams once again lifting another ball forward into Bradley Tarbuck. This time, Bradley Tarbuck doing well enough to win it, but just a heavy touch sees it run out of play, and Dobson just walking over to collect the ball and just probably going to waste a bit of time.
Yeah, see, Beaconsfield aren't rushing. When they get throws and they get free kicks, they take their time. And not too much time, but they just give themselves a chance to have a think. But there you go.
Well, I suppose, seeing this hoofball in action in the first 45 minutes, I don't think it works with a team like Beaconsfield. We have alluded to it a couple of times, but for the fans listening now, with a team of Beaconsfield defence, it just can't really catch them off guard, this lift ball.
No, they're going to work hard. They're going to come here and they're going to work hard, and there'll be no gifts. I can promise you that. But then that should inspire you, as the team in second place, to raise your own game, work hard, and what you have to do to pick that lock.
Well, Beaconsfield once again winning the possession in the Gosport half. It's 14 with a good first touch just on the edge of the Gosport box. Passing it into McElroy. McElroy trying to turn his man. Now Yearwood. It's a heavy touch and Joe Morrison has to come out to collect it, but it's still in Beaconsfield possession. The Rams looking forward. But it's a heavy hit cross. It's going to trickle all the way back to Bradshaw. Bradshaw down this right-hand channel. Tries to lift the ball in, but it takes a nick off of Rafa Ramos.
Haven't seen the ball yet, have we? Because we're coming up to the end of the first 45 minutes. Haven't seen a stoppage time board yet.
Well, to be honest, I'm not sure I've seen this board at all.
It's coming now.
Oh, there it is. 4 minutes added on. So we can confirm it will be 4 minutes added on. Probably expected, depending on the injuries. Maybe enough time to see a late goal, but after the first 45 minutes, I can't see a goal coming in the last 4 minutes.
Don't hex it because they've got a corner. But I think none of us are surprised to see the 4 minutes come up, given the injuries we've had. So you've got to keep your concentration.
Well, it's going to be Beaconsfield with the corner. The ball hitting towards the near post, but it's headed away by Danny Hollins. 16 lifting the ball in. And it's headed down, but Toby Stewart just catching it.
Yeah, it's Luke Neville with a header. That's a bit of pace, didn't it, the header? It was lost its momentum. So it's a fairly easy take for him.
Well, smashed away by Toby Stewart. One Owen Borges might be able to chase down, but it's smashed out of the stadium by Neville, the man who just had a header there on goal. Had to get back quickly there, Neville. But Gosport, they're going to have a throw in just by the Harry Mitson stand. It's going to be Bradley Tarbuck taking it. And he's going to pass it all the way back to Corey Jordan. I wonder if Jordan's going to line up another cross. But instead passes back to Rory Williams. Rory, he's got Jake Cope near him, and he does pass it to Jake Cope. Jake Cope out wide into Christian Campbell. Campbell, he's got Cope on the overlap, but instead chooses the short option into Jake Cope. Jake Cope, through ball into Rafa Ramos, but once again a heavy touch sees Rafa Ramos lose it. Dan Wooden, Danny Hollins, sorry, he also just lost it as well to Beaconsfield possession.
Yeah, he was caught napping there, wasn't concentrating, the ball was literally nicked off his foot.
Straight back the other end again.
Yeah.
Well, it is English on the ball, passing it back, and a ball has been lifted in, but it's calmly collected by Toby Stewart, just catching it before McElroy could have got on the end of it, and passes it immediately forward into Christian Campbell. It just looks as though there's no urgency in this Gosport team as well. Oh, and I think that could have been a handball. It's Yazabek with a handball there, just in the centre circle.
It was an unlucky one. It sort of bounced back from up his shoulder onto his arm.
Well, as Holland's taking it quite quickly, Owen Borges trying to win it and pass it through into Dan Wooden. Rafa just not happy the pass didn't get through to him. But Joe Morrison passes it forward into Bradley Tarbuck. Tarbuck, just on the edge of the box, passes it into Dan Wooden, who is in the box. I think he got smashed in the head there thanks to an elbow from Neville.
Both players are down. Both are down. So that's clearly a clash of heads. Both physios are straight on there.
Well, it's a head injury and the worst type of injury, isn't it?
I mean, you could argue that Wooden was given a bit of a hearty shove when he was inside the area. The referee didn't see it. He was on the blind side. But I think more of a concern now for Gosport is he going to be okay? Because he doesn't look in a very good way here.
Well, I'll run you through some of the scores in the Southern Premier League. Still 0-0 here at the AI Stadium. Bracknell 0, Harrow Borough 0. Didcot 0, AFC Tottenham 1. Hayes and Yedden, Basingstoke postponed. Hendon 0, Chesham 0. Plymouth Parkway, Salisbury postponed. Paul Town, Hungerford postponed. Sherlin, Dorchester postponed. Swindon Supermarine 0, Tiverton 0. Walton and Hersham 0, Hanwell 0. Winchester postponed against Merthyr. And I suppose the most interesting results there are probably Chesham drawing to Hendon, who in Hendon looking on real good form.
Yeah, Hendon are always difficult to beat at home. Their ground just a couple of miles up the road from Wembley Stadium, where I was last night, ironically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, up there last night. So, yeah, they're tough to beat on their own patch. And Chesham are finding that. And also, it's a fairly local derby as well for both teams. So there's that element to that game as well.
Well, I think it's Hendon's new star man, the former Borough man. Cumberbatch,
Yeah,
that's it.
Curtis Cumberbatch.
Yeah, Curtis Cumberbatch,
He's actually
that's it,
done
yeah.
very well since going to play there. He's actually found a new lease of life up there.
Well, I suppose with Gosport, he just wasn't getting the game time he wanted and needed, really, in order to perform.
And also, it's a long way for him to travel because he's London-based, so it's better to play closer to home and sort of feel confident in a team. But the 4 minutes is up, but obviously we're going to have a little bit more. Both players are absolutely fine, though. Just get that in there.
Well, that's good news. And as I do say that, ball has been lifted forward into Owen Borges, but once again calmly collected by Rowley, just coming out of his box.
Too long.
Well, it looks as though all the crosses, they're trying to now meet the run of Owen Borges, as opposed to Dan Wooden, who would probably be more preferable getting on the end of a ball like that. But as I do say that, Bradley Tarbuck winning the ball in a deadly possession, marching forward and picking out Owen Borges in this right-hand channel. Borges just by the right corner flag. But he did do well enough to keep it in play, but the ball in the end just outpacing him. And it is now half-time here at the AEI Stadium, as it's Gosport 0, Beaconsfield 0. Gosport, their best chances came thanks to Dan Wooden. He did hit a shot over the top left corner, narrowly missing and curling a shot. Rafa Ramos also did have a good shot on goal, forcing a shot and making Rowley commit a lovely save. But Beaconsfield, they've also had their fair share of shots. Dobson were their closest, slashing a shot just wide of the right post. I will now run you through some of the other half-time results in the Southern Premier League. So it's Bracknell 0, Hanwell 0. Didcot 0, AFC Tottenham 1, 0-0 here at the AI Stadium. Hendon 0, Chesham 0. Swindon Supermarine 0, Tiverton 0. Walton and Hersham 0, Hanwell 0. We'll see you in the second half, but like I said, Gosport 0, Beaconsfield 0. Hello guys and welcome back to the second half of the Gosport versus Beaconsfield game. Still 0-0 here, and I'll run you through both teams. It has just kicked off, but I'll have to run you through both teams, starting with the Beaconsfield team lineup. In goal is Matthew Rowley, 4 Samuel Togwell, 5 Luke Neville, 6 Jackie Scopomau, 7 Daniel Bradshaw, 8 Asher Yearwood, 11 James Dobson, 12 Cameron English, 16 Daniel Roth, and 17 Tom McElroy. And your Gosport lineup today sees number 1 in goal, Toby Stewart, 2 Harry Kavanagh, who has been since replaced, and I'll tell you the replacement in a minute, but it's 3 Rory Williams, 4 Corey Jordan, 5 Joe Morrison, 14 Jake Cope, 7 Bradley Tarbuck, 19 Danny Hollins, 9 Dan Wooden, 18 Rafa Ramos, and 15 Christian Campbell. And the man who has replaced Kavanagh was Owen Borges, and he is currently on the ball, passing it into Rafa Ramos, and Rafa Ramos nearly going for goal there, just dragging an effort wide of the top corner, and it was nearly a good first opportunity for Gosport. And like I just mentioned, it was the man Owen Borges, and we were discussing in the first half how we wanted to see Gosport play it more on the floor, and it looks as though Pat and Joe might have just told the boys to do that in the second half, as we just seen it in action. Owen Borges rolling it on the floor into Rafa Ramos, and Rafa going for goal. And like I said, just slashing a shot wide in the early couple minutes. But it's going to be Rowley taking the free kick. So yeah, it'd be an interesting second half, I think. Both teams desperate to get a win and the 3 points. But it's Dan Wooden currently tugging with Bradshaw there. Dan Wooden doing well enough to win Gosport a free kick. Danny Hollins wanted to take it quick, and it was something we jeopardised there. We were talking about how we didn't want to see quick free kicks. But it's going to be Rory Williams, our skipper, taking it. Pat and Joe just delivering instructions there by the looks of it to a couple of the players in the box. Just ordering a couple of the players, like the such as Rafa Ramos, just to get in the box. But nonetheless, it has been played out wide into Tarbuck. Tarbuck whips in a ball, falling all the way back to Joe Morrison, the former Beaconsfield man. Morrison just on the edge of the box, and it goes all the way back to the halfway line. And that's really poor there, just from Gosport, losing it, and number 10, Yazabek, winning it. But once again, the referee blowing up, and it will be a free kick. Just a bit of an annoying one for Gosport there. Didn't really do too much in order to win the foul, but yeah, Beaconsfield's still going to take it just on the edge of the central circle, and it has been taken quickly into Jazabek. But it's heavy pressure from Gosport. Dan Wooden applying the most pressure, leading to Owen Borges winning the ball. But it's been scooped away. Danny Hollins goes diving in for a sliding challenge. Beaconsfield wanted to play on there, but the referee just didn't want to play on there. Wanted to blow up for the free kick. And it looks as though it's going to be McElroy taking the free kick, the striker. We've seen him have a couple efforts in the first half. Probably his most notable was slashing it wide. But no, it'd be interesting to see what they can do from this free kick. There's been a couple opportunities where they have come close with corners and free kicks. Neville coming the closest where he headed an effort wide. But this effort is going to be taken just on the touchline. And it's hit forward into Kopo Mal. Kopo Mal trying to dance his way past Tarbuck. He does do well enough, and it does take a nick off of Tarbuck as it does roll out for a corner ball. And it's a good bit of play there from Kopo Mal. And it will be a Beaconsfield corner. Jeremy, you did miss a good opportunity from Rafa Ramos. I'm not sure if you saw it on the floor.
I did hear the crowd going a bit crazy down that end, to be fair, so it's not a new something of that.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Beaconsfield, they've just had an attack, and it has led to a corner. It's going to be Kopo Mal taking the corner by the looks of it. And a corner has been put in the middle. But the referee blows up immediately after a tug. I think it was Joe Morrison there who had his shirt tugged. The referee didn't like that, and it's going to be a free kick taken from Gosport. But no, it was good attack from Gosport, the first opportunity of the half. And it was something we were talking about in the first half. We wanted to see the ball played a bit more on the floor, and that ultimately led to the attack where Rafa had his shot.
Yeah, I didn't see it, to be fair, but it's good to see that they've changed it up. We'll just have to see going forward what the game plan is for this second half. But it needed to change, so we'll just have to wait and see. But the conditions are perfect, aren't they, out there? The pitch is perfect. The weather's cleared right up this morning since sort of a bit of a wet start. So it's perfect for football.
Yeah, in the end, it's actually shaped up for a lovely day of football. Like you said, the sun's out, nice warm weather. You couldn't really ask for much more from a football game, other than Gosport being run up.
Well, that would be good. But no, I was in London before I came home this morning. It was absolutely heaving it down with rain up there. Absolutely wet as you like. So I sort of texted Paul, who's here, and I said, is it okay back home? He said, it's lovely. Okay, then.
Well, it is Dobson on the ball at the moment. 20 yards out from goal. Teeing up a shot, and it goes just wide. Toby Stewart, it was a Toby Stewart save by the looks of it, just tipping it out. But it's Dobson once again with a shot. We saw him have a shot in the first half where he dragged it just wide, and it looks as though that shot was heading just towards the bottom corner, forcing a good save from Toby Stewart there.
Yeah, and again, Beaconsfield starting as they mean to go on in the second half. We've already had nearly 6 minutes of it.
Well, they have got a corner now, Beaconsfield.
Right, well, let's see where it goes then. That's an in-swinger. That's a nice looking one. And that's a goal!
Oh, dear. It's Neville with a goal as well.
It's Neville.
Well, it was hit in towards the near post, wasn't it? And Neville on the front post just has to nod it down. And that's his third goal in the last 2 games. He got 2 goals last week against Walton and Hersham, and he's added another one to that goal tally. It's a good goal from Luke Neville, and it's just made it even harder for Gosport.
Yeah, that's been coming. I hate to say it, but they've looked threatening, haven't they? And we've had a bit of a charmed life. But there it is. Now we're going to have to work twice as hard.
I suppose the only good thing is for Gosport, it might actually put a bit more fight into the boys. Something we haven't seen in the first 45 minutes.
It's a similar game to the reverse fixture up at Beaconsfield, to be honest. And I believe they went a goal down there and then sort of swung it around at the end. But they're going to have to work doubly hard now. And what they can't do is go another goal down, because I think they will really struggle to get back from that.
That's down at 2.
So James is tweeting. And Rafa Ramos is through here. Is he going to force an opening? Is he going to still?
And it's Rafa Ramos with a goal! Lovely goal from Rafa Ramos. He was just on the edge of the box, danced his way into the box, placed a lovely ball into the bottom corner, and it's put Gosport back on level terms. Seconds after the goal, and what a lovely goal that was from the Portuguese. 3 goals in the last 2 games. You cannot ask for much more from our star man, Rafa Ramos, just placing the ball into the bottom corner. Keeper had no chance. Up to now, Rowley's had a brilliant game, but nothing was saving that. Rafa Ramos with a lovely goal. And what a goal that was. And what a reply that was from Gosport, immediately getting back onto equal terms.
Who saw that coming?
No one, I don't think.
Wow, but again, it just shows you, I think maybe Beaconsfield fell into the trap of you scored, they've relaxed, and you've conceded. You see it so often in football. And here we go again, James. It's
Gosport back on the attack. Dan Wooden on the edge of the box. He's trying to turn his man, but he has to pass back to Owen Borges. Dan Wooden has to fall all the way back. He tries to lift one into Bradley Tarbuck. Now it's falling back to Corey Jordan in the right-hand channel, 30 yards up from goal. Jordan trying to chip a ball into Tarbuck, and that's met by Tarbuck in a lovely ball, but just the final end product doesn't reach him. It was close there, and this goal, it seems to have put a lot more motivation into the boys.
Right, I tell you what, Beaconsfield are rattled. You can see it. They've been so calm and so composed so far, but that goal, they're rattled. So now would be a good time to maybe try and open them up a second time.
Make it 2
before they find their composure again, because then it's going to be hard. But that's a really good character from Gosport. They've come back. They went a goal down. No problem. Let's just go up the other end and find a way back in. While Beaconsfield was still on a high from scoring themselves.
Well, it's always been a good talent of Gosport. We do like to get back into matches. We saw it at Salisbury, where we did come from a losing situation towards the final few minutes. But Gosport, they are on the attack once again. It was Owen Borges on the edge of the box, just losing the ball to Jazabek there. Maybe Beaconsfield might be able to create an attack, but it looks as though the momentum has shifted to Gosport, as it's Rory Williams lifting the ball into Christian Campbell. Christian Campbell striding down this left-hand channel. Chooses to pass it into Jake Cope in the centre of the park. Cope lifting the ball forward, but is headed out by Neville. But it's definitely shifted, hasn't it? The momentum.
It's gone from 0-0 to 1-1 with 10 minutes of the second half gone. But here comes Beaconsfield again. You're desperately trying to tweet.
Yeah.
It's fine. If you need to tweet, I can quite happily fill in while you're doing that. So Gosport now trying to break down the right-hand side. It's Tarbuck. Just has a look up at his options, but he's shut down so quickly. Beaconsfield not giving any Gosport player any time on the ball, and that has been their game plan from the off. So it's gone back. Gosport recycled. This is Joe Morrison just having a look up, but Gosport not having too many options. So Williams goes long. It's sort of try to find a head of Wooden, but he's just shut down. It's all about being suffocated by these red shirts. They're just doing their defensive duties so well. And Gosport again fashioning down the left-hand side. And this is Campbell. But his cross is charged down, and Beaconsfield now breaking out from defence. And again, they're looking to exploit this left channel with with the 12th, and that is Cameron English. But good interception there.
Well, it's Bradley Tarbach down this right-hand channel, trying to thread the ball into Rafa Ramos. Rafa Ramos with a good first touch, trying to get across his shot, but it's good defending there from Jazabek. And it does look as though it's gone out for a Gosport corner by the referee. I think it may have been the second referee there who disagreed with the main referee's decision.
I think the whole ground saw it. It should have been a corner. Beaconsfield recognised the lead off, and they're off again. And now they've got a player down injured, but so that will probably allow, if he's going to know he's back up.
Well, the referee hasn't blown up for it, but
the player's back up. So
it's English with a ball into McElroy on the edge of the box, 20 yards out from goal, but he can't get past Jake Cope. But he does unleash a shot, just narrowly missing the crossbar. It's a good shot from McElroy there.
Good effort, and I'll tell you what, McElroy's not afraid to shoot on sight, is he? We've seen it 2 or 3 times this afternoon.
I can't believe the shift of play from the first 5 minutes of the second half to this. It's been a massive shift of play. It's gone up a lot of gears. Let's hope Gosport can get a second now. But it's Corey Jordan just in his own half. He's got Owen Borges running in front of him, but he does chip a ball into Dan Wooden. Dan Wooden just being tugged there by Dobson, and the referee does blow up for it. And I'm surprised there hasn't been a yellow card plucked, but it's going to be a quick free kick taken. Pass to Dotchi Hollins in the central circle, and now out wide into the left-hand channel into Campbell. Campbell lifting the ball in, trying to find the head of Dan Wooden, but it's collected by Rowley in goal.
Yeah, the cross was, again, I'm afraid to say it, down the keeper's throat. But hasn't this game shifted up 5 gears or so?
Well, it's Jake Cope winning the ball this time. And Owen Borges doing well there, trying to win a ball. Once again brought down by Dobson. And surely this is his time where he's going to have to get a yellow. And it looks as though there's a bit of fights between Dobson and Owen Borges there. The young Gosport man just not happy with a foul. And you can understand he's frustrated, being brought down to the floor twice by Dobson there.
I was wondering if we were watching Greco-Roman there for a second, because he literally, there was no attempt to play the ball. He just grabbed his shirt and shoved it into the floor. So in that instance, I'm afraid it was absolutely the right decision to book in for that.
Gosport 1, Beaconsfield 1. And it's going to be Bradley Tarbach with a corner just on the edge of the box. It's going to be taken from the right-hand side. I would imagine it's going to have to be an in-swinger. Let's see what Gosport can do. Danny Hollins is being tugged in the Beaconsfield box, but the referee doesn't like it, and Danny Hollins going over to the referee, just trying to get East Pills across to the ref.
Yeah, there's argy-bargy going on in there, and some of it needless, but anyway, here we go.
Well, Tarbach with a free kick, trying to find the head of Rafa Ramos at the back post. Joe Morrison claiming it's taken a nick, but it's going to be a Gosport corner. Once again, it's Bradley Tarbach who's going to be taking the set piece.
Just wondering what the gate's going to be. I'm waiting to hear what the attendance is, to be honest with you, but haven't had it through yet.
Well, I have to admit the atmosphere has also changed. But it's going to be Tarbach with the corner. Got a lot of yellow bodies arriving now in the Beaconsfield box. Tarbach with a corner, trying to find Danny Hollins, but it's well won by Bradshaw. Bradshaw trying to clear his lines, and he does just do that, passing it forward into 14. But he runs into Christian Campbell. 14 still gets his pass across, trying to find a run of McElroy, but Toby Stewart's positioning just favouring him there, as he had to get a bit out of his box and come and hoof it forward into Rory Williams. Rory Williams passing it into Danny Hollins just in the centre of the park till a ball was eventually smashed forward into Rafa Ramos. And Rafa Ramos just doing well enough to keep it in play, dragging a ball across into the box, but just no Gosport players to meet it in the centre of the box.
Yeah, there was no support there, so he had to do all he could on his own. Didn't do a bad job, but the keeper did well there. I still thought the keeper did well to react and stop the danger.
Well, English just marching forward, but the run has been stopped by Rory Williams. It will be a throw-in taken by Beaconsfield, just by the Harry Mitson stand. It's going to be Dobson by the looks of it, who's going to be taking the throw-in.
Well, that's an hour gone, James. 1-1, and we've got an intriguing game on.
Well, the first 15 minutes, they've flown by.
Yeah, they
and you can understand why. Two goals.
It's not been a bad watch, to be honest, this second half, has it?
It's been completely different, hasn't it, since the first half?
Both sides are a lot more bold going forward, and I think that's plain to see.
Well, ironically, everything we talked about in the first half looks as though the managers might have heard what we've been talking about, as it seems they've implemented most of the stuff we've been talking about.
They've probably seen it for themselves, but you've seen a look both teams. Why is Cope getting?
Yeah, Jake Cope's getting a card. I'm not sure if it was something he said to the referee, but if I'm
Probably
being
back
honest,
chat. Yeah,
he doesn't really strike me as a player that would do that.
gobbing off, potentially.
But it's going to be Yazabek with a free kick taken just inside of the Gosport half, just by the halfway line. It's going to be a very short free kick taken. Yazabek going to be the man marching forward. And it's passed out wide to Dobson. Back into the centre of the park. The ball has been tried to hit out wide into number 12, but it's a heavy touch which sees it go out for a Gosport throw. And it's going to be taken. It's not going to be taken quickly by Bradley Tarbuck, but has now been taken by Corey Jordan. Pass back to the midfielder and Bradley Tarbuck. But that's a horrendous pass which has been won back. It's McElroy going for a shot, and it's in the back of the net. It took a nick off of Toby Stewart, and I think it was just too much power on the shot there. And it's Tom McElroy, I believe, as his celebration, he's now twerking towards the Gosport fans. And it's a shot I think Toby Stewart would have wanted to do better there. Just too much power from the shot, which sees it taken over the line. And it's Beaconsfield 2, Gosport 1. It's probably a shot Toby Stewart really should have done better there. Just too much power on top of the shot. But still, I think the young keeper could have done a bit better there if we're being a bit critical.
He'll be disappointed, I think. But it came in with power and pace. And what have we said about McElroy this whole game? He's not afraid to shoot.
He's a danger man.
Yeah. Shoots on sight, and that's caught them out.
It's a shame we were looking good up until then, but once again, it's going to shift their momentum.
Well, hopefully they can hit back. Do it. They've done it once. They're going to have to do it again now. And, yeah, I think what more can you say? They're going to have to try and catch Beaconsfield cold. But James is tweeting, so that's fine. I'll take over until he's ready. So Gosport get this one back underway. From the kick-off, the ball's played back to Rory Williams. Now up to the left-hand channel and Christian Campbell on the halfway line. So Gosport just playing keep ball at the moment. They're not really punching forward with any urgency. I think they're maybe even trying to take a bit of stock of the fact they're now 2-1 down on their own ground. But then if you look at the form table, are you really surprised with this? Because Beaconsfield have upset some of the big boys in recent weeks. So it shouldn't surprise too many people. But what Gosport have got to do now is find their composure. Now Stewart goes long down the middle. He's looking for Ramos, but he was thwarted by some clever defending there. Gosport win the ball back with Morrison in the centre circle. Now Cope, Gosport not really being allowed to break out of their own final third here, and they're going to have to produce something a little bit more special and forward-thinking if they are to do so. So back to you.
Well, like you said, it's been an interesting first 20 minutes of this second half. It'd be interesting to see how Gosport's going to have to retaliate. And you have to wonder, will Pat and Joe make any substitutions? Because up until that goal, we were looking quite good. And Rafa Ramos, he's won a good ball, but it's a poor cross once again down the keeper's throat, and he's just going to take long to execute it now.
That's it. So, yeah, and really, I think the window of opportunity is closing because there is never a better time to score a goal when the other team's just scored against you. They've relaxed, they've taken their eye off the ball, the concentration's just lacking a little bit. And that's how we did it to get back to 1-1. But now at 2-1 down, Beaconsfield will regain their composure, I believe, and now that they have a lead.
Well, it's Joe Morrison just launching the ball forward into Jake Cope, but it's been intercepted by Yearwood. Back to Dobson. Dobson playing the ball into, I think that's McElroy. Out wide to number 12. Number 12. Lifting the ball into the back post, and it's headed down, trying to find McElroy, the goal scorer, but Rory Williams makes an important interception there, and now he's striding forward. He's got multiple options in front of him. Rafa Ramos, the goal scorer, being one of those options, and he does choose that option. Rafa Ramos down this left-hand channel, but he is brought down to the floor. The referee doesn't blow up, and I don't think Rafa had many appeals there. Probably knows it was a fair foul. But McElroy, once again, chasing down another ball, but it's cleared away by Toby Stewart.
I thought Corey Jordan put his own goalkeeper under unnecessary pressure there with that pass. But Gosport attacking now down the right. Let's see where it goes.
Well, it's Tarbuck trying to deliver across, but it takes a ricochet off of number 11, Dobson. A quick throw and taken. Owen Borges brought down to the floor once again. And as a result, Gosport do get a free kick. You got to feel a bit for Owen Borges. It seems as though the Beaconsfield players don't like him. He keeps being brought down to the floor,
Well,
but I suppose that's his role, isn't it?
He's a bit of a pain in the backside for them, so yeah, he's going to cause them a few headaches, and he has done since he's come on. Are they going to make changes? Yes. I see our two managers in conference down there. I think you might actually see a Gosport Borough sub coming very, very soon.
Well, I suppose with this cross, you would hope it just doesn't go straight down the throat of the keeper once again. We've seen a lot of efforts go down his throat, so let's hope something can change this time. Tarbuck.
No.
Nope, I was right. Rowley this time dispatching the ball forward, trying to find the run of goal scorer McElroy, but Rory Williams, he's just going to make sure as he headers it back to Toby Stewart. And that's what you want to see, better communication there between the skipper and Toby Stewart, just showing the skipper's experience.
Yeah, definitely, and I would completely agree. There was communication, and Rory did just enough to make sure that the keeper could clear up the mess, really, if you like. But that's the sort of thing you're going to have to do. Don't give them any opportunities. Don't put your own defenders or goalkeeper under unnecessary pressure. Don't invite them onto you.
Gosport still playing out from the back. There's 3 players currently in the Gosport half, but Rory Williams is unfazed as he tries to chip a ball into Bradley Tarbuck, but headed away by Neville. But it falls once again back into Gosport possession. Morrison passing it back to Toby Stewart. I would imagine Toby Stewart might have to pass it forward to Rory Williams. Rory, I wonder if he's going to play another cross, but instead does a low pass into Danny Hollins. Still facing a lot of Beaconsfield heavy pressure. Toby Stewart having to pass it forward once again into Rory Williams. And we've seen it a lot this half. Beaconsfield, they're seeming to thrive off of the charge downs and the heavy pressure. And that's ultimately what caved Gosport's defence into creating the first goal. But Rafa Ramos doing well, battling with Neville and losing the battle as Neville once again trying to play a ball into number 12. 14 just entered the Gosport box, but that's a poor pass and it's intercepted by Jake Cope. Cope forward into Bradley Tarbuck, just still in the Gosport half. But a ball hoof forward sees a ball trying to be delivered into Dan Wooden, just 20 yards into the Beaconsfield box. But that is Danny Hollins who's gone down there. Well, it's a battle between Bradshaw and Danny Hollins, but Danny Hollins, he took the worst of it there on the floor. He has gotten off, and it's just one he's going to have to shake off. And it's going to be another free kick taken. This time it's going to be Rory Williams, but there isn't this time a Beaconsfield player on the floor. I'm not sure if he's just trying to tie his shoelace or it might just be a bit of cramp he's got.
He's getting up.
Yeah. But it's going to be Rory Williams with the free kick, 15 yards into the Beaconsfield half. It's a low free kick and an unsuccessful free kick.
Poor free kick. I'll rephrase that for you. It wasn't great, and unfortunately, that's now allowed Beaconsfield to try and counter-attack.
Well, it's something I would imagine Pat and Joe may have to be looking at on the training ground. We've had, I would say, at least over 8 free kicks, would you say, in this game? And I'd say so far, every free kick hasn't exactly been successful.
Yeah, our set pieces haven't been good today, and I think Joe and Pat will be looking at that. And it's unusual to see Pat Sirachi get as animated as he is now, so perhaps a sign of frustration there.
Well, yeah. But it's Jake Cope in the centre of the Beaconsfield half, passing it out wide to Christine Campbell. He's got Jake Cope on the overlap, but passes it into Dan Wooden in the Beaconsfield box. Dan Wooden, he's got a lot of players in the middle, but I still can't find any Gosport players. But it falls all the way back to Christine Campbell. Campbell lines up a shot, and it goes out for a Gosport corner. Tarbuck once again heading towards that corner flag. Let's see what they can do with this set piece.
Yeah, again, you saw Beaconsfield's game plan there. They surrounded Wooden, clearly got him marked down as a danger man, and he hasn't really been allowed to play.
Well, you can see Mark Summerhill there just talking to the referee, and it's going to be Alfie Stanley coming on.
He's being called down to the bench, but the corner will happen first, but you know now what they're thinking.
Well, let's just hope he can go into the game on level terms. It's Tarbuck with a corner. Fizzling its way back to Rafa Ramos, but it's going to have to trickle its way back to Tarbuck thanks to a deflection. And it's a goal bound. But it is Rowley who's on the floor. It was a collision between the keeper and Dan Wooden there, but the referee blows up for a Beaconsfield foul. And yeah,
goalkeeper was fouled, I think. So we know that Stanley's going to be coming on.
I would imagine it'd be Stanley coming on for Dan Wooden.
Well, I reckon so, because Dan just hasn't been allowed to breathe,
No.
let alone play. So
I suppose with some fresh legs into the game, if you add that, it just adds a bit of a catalyst, doesn't it? And maybe might add to that next goal.
I think he'll give him something else to think about. Because Wooden's just been marked out of the game. And he's not a quick player anymore, Dan. You won't mind me saying that. He's full of guile and experience and know-how, but his pace isn't there. Whereas Stanley's quick, and I think he might just give them something else to think about.
Well, I wonder if it would just be the one change, or if we could see maybe a double change. Maybe see Diaz come on.
I've only seen one substitute come down to get, but Beaconsfield are making one.
Yeah, Beaconsfield are also making a substitution. It's going to be Ellis Grant coming on for number 14. 14 has been quite good so far, but in return, it's going to be Grant coming on.
So we've got Stanley. So it's the 14, yeah, for them?
Yeah. And 14 for us, so it's not down then.
No.
So it's going to be a Borough change. Jake Cope coming off, and in return, it's going to be Alfie Stanley coming on. So, yeah, it's not exactly what we thought. So we're bringing off a midfielder for a striker.
And Stanley on.
And it looks as though at the same time, Gosport are going to be changing formation at the same time.
Both teams making changes. We'll do Gosport first. Coming on number 11, Alfie Stanley replacing Jake Cope. Number 14, Beaconsfield. Bringing on number 19, Elias Grant replacing number 14, Ada Operate.
Oh, very well today.
Yeah.
He works pretty well with Campbell, doesn't he?
Yes.
Gosport just passing the ball forward, trying to pass it forward into Dan Wooden. But it goes out for a Gosport throw in. It's going to be Rory Williams taking the throw in. He's got Alfie Stanley running towards them. Alfie Stanley just running, making room for himself. Passes it back to the skipper. Rory Williams moving into a more central role. Williams still unable to get a pass across. He's got Bradley Tarbuck making a move in front of him. But thanks to the constant man marking, he's had to pass it all the way back to Toby Stewart in goal. Stewart launching one forward. Finding the head of Dan Wooden, who heads it back into Bradley Tarbuck just outside of the Beaconsfield box. But it's hit out by Neville. And it has gone out for a Gosport corner.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official attendance at the AEI Stadium this afternoon is 831. Thank you very much for your tremendous support. Thank you.
And I'm sure you've just heard from Jeremy there. It's a brilliant attendance, 831 people here at the ground. And considering the likes of Portsmouth are playing at home, I would say that's a decent attendance.
I'd say it's very decent, actually. And let's see if Gosport can get back in the game from this.
Well, let's hope it gives something for the fans to cheer about. But it's going to be Christian Campbell with a corner. Hitting one once again into the near post, but it's cleared by Jazabek. Alfie Stanley trying to get on the end of it, but McElroy, the goal scorer, is more successful. Owen Borges just working well with Stanley there to clear it forward, and it does return into Gosport possession. Christian Campbell coming down this right-hand channel, but it's hit out by Grant, the new substitution. Campbell passing it back to Tarbuck. Constant 1-2s between the two wingers there. Now Corey Jordan back in the Gosport half. Campbell just taking his time with the ball, looking for options in front of him, but every player is currently marked in front of him until Bradley Tarbuck. He's lost his man coming down this right-hand channel, dancing past numerous players, lifting the ball into the back post, and it finds the head of Dan Wooden, who just narrowly misses. I'm not sure how that's missed. Wow.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was in the back of the net, but...
That was an open chance for Dan there. He will be kicking himself with that, I think. That was the perfect cross, the perfect run, the perfect opportunity. Let's hope Gosport get another one, because that should have been 2-2. So James is tweeting, so I'll just help him out a little bit. So Beaconsfield with a goal kick to get this one back underway. It's 2-1 Beaconsfield with quarter of an hour left, with 831 watching on here at the AEI Stadium. It's been a better second half. There's a bit of grappling there, more Greco-Roman there between Danny Hollands and McElroy, I think you'll find. But Gosport have got the ball back to Toby Stewart, who's just not in too much of a rush. He hasn't got too many options there, but he's going to go long with the clearance, straight down the middle. And Borges tries to win the header from Dobson and doesn't, but Beaconsfield now trying to counter-attack. And look out, here they come. And it's another chance for the 3-1
Oh,
off the
and
post.
it's hit the post.
Gosport have survived that. Oh, dear James, that should have been
Well, it really
3-1
should.
Game, set, and match.
Well, it looked to say the ball was going to just roll into the bottom corner there.
Now, who
It had
was
easily
that? Was that
beaten Toby
Dobson
Stewart.
again?
It was Dobson.
Dobson, yeah.
What a game he's having. Well, you just thought he cut into the right hand channel there, went for the bottom corner, just hitting the post. You couldn't have asked much more from the attacker there other than actually finishing the ball.
I tell you what, that's really good chances going begging at both ends, isn't it, for both sides? I mean, that could have easily been sort of Gosport lane 2-2 and then going 3-2 down. Really, it should have been. And Gosport still just struggling to clear their lines here. And Joe Morrison just going route one up towards Wooden, but Stanley, it's Wooden who does get the header onto it to a Borges to his right hand side. There's an overlapping run there from Taba. Stanley in towards Rafa Ramos, but Beaconsfield have read the situation perfectly and got the ball away. Williams on the halfway line, just trying to start something else for Gosport. Now we have Campbell, who's been such an influential player, trying to get the ball in towards the penalty spot. And Ramos trying to shape to shoot, but it's straight at the goalkeeper. The shot lacked any strength and any power. That was a bit of a p-roller in towards Matt Rowley in the goal.
Well, you wouldn't think you probably would think Beaconsfield are the team 2-1 up, but they're still going for that third goal. And look, as say they want to crucify this victory now.
They know they have to, because Gosport have still got a bit of a bite about them, and they're still sort of a quarter of an hour just under the play, so this game's not done yet.
Well, Dobson just been dispossessed from the ball, but Beaconsfield still win it back. It's 12 down this left-hand channel and acres of space. He's got Dobson on the overlap, and he will choose that option. Dobson trying to pass it back into number 12, and it looks as though that's going to fit a lovely ball. McElroy he's in the box, but it looks as though he's just run out of steam thanks to a run from Bradley Tarbuck with a charge down. But Dobson winning the ball back for Beaconsfield. He's going to put a low-driven cross into the box. Falls back to 12. Now Dobson delivering another cross into the middle, but this one down the throat of Toby Stewart. And Toby Stewart might be hoping to take it quickly as he lobs one forward. Can Dan Wooden get on the end of it? No, he can't. And instead, Grant can get on the end of it, the central midfielder, passing it out wide into Dobson. Back to Grant. Does well to get a pass across into number 12. He's surrounded by Gosport players, and it's Joe Morrison who does well just to win it back for Gosport. Bradley Tarbuck just by the Beaconsfield dugout and is smashed forward once again. Can Rafa Ramos get on the end of the ball? He does well to get on the end of the ball just by the right-hand corner flag. Rafa trying to escape number 12. Passes it back to Bradley Tarbuck. Tarbuck delivering across into the centre of the box, trying to find Alfie Stanley, and he does find Alfie Stanley. Stanley back with a cross into the centre of the park. Now Owen Borges playing it out wide into Bradley Tarbuck. Tarbuck into Stanley. Stanley on the edge of the box. Being dispossessed from Yazabek.
Yeah, some robust defending there, James, and the Gosport attack ran out of steam, didn't it?
Well, if I'm being honest, it looks as though Gosport, I'm not sure they're going to be able to get past this Beaconsfield defence. It looks as though it's not going to cave.
Got 12 minutes left. They've got to keep chipping away at it. And if they do get a second equaliser, then they need to hold on to that as a base minimum, because losing, not really an option today if you're chasing that second spot, especially as it is now a game in hand.
Well, I suppose the only good thing is the second spot, it doesn't really mean anything in this league.
I think it does, and I'll explain why. And I don't mean to contradict you, but if you're thinking in the position of the playoffs, if you get into the playoffs and you're second, if you will be at home in the semis and the final if you do progress.
Oh,
So
wow, I
you
did not know that. Wow.
If you finish second, you will guarantee one, maybe two playoff games at home.
Oh, okay, that's actually massive. Well, especially with Salisbury's game being postponed. And there has been a free ball thread through into Owen Borges, but Neville, once again, with lovely defending, just making sure Owen Borges can't get a pass across into the box. But for me, like I said it so many times during this commentary, Beaconsfield defence is looked outstanding.
They have defended very, very well today, as we
Well,
knew they would do.
Even with one of their main mans coming off, we saw Togwell come off pretty early and Yazabek come on, the number 10. And despite having an attacker's number, I think he's been pretty outstanding at the back.
I'll tell you what, they've come here with a game plan and they've executed it fantastically and beautifully. And they will, if they do end up winning, then you can't argue they probably have deserved it. But to be fair, Gosport aren't done yet, but they are going to have to find something, and soon.
Well, it's just a battle in the centre half. But it's Danny Hollins who gets victorious, passing it back to Rory Williams on the edge of the centre circle, still in Gosport's half. Passes it out wide into Christian Campbell. Campbell down this left-hand channel. And like you just mentioned there, the sun really not favouring the Gosport players.
Well, the thing is, you've got the setting sun now, and it's just Gosport are playing into it, so that is going to cause an issue or two, I suspect.
Christian Campbell coming down this left-hand channel, putting in a cross, but it's going to fall all the way back to Dobson. Dobson against Bradley Tarbuck, but Dobson does well enough to clear his lines. Now it's the chase between Corey Jordan and number 12. Jordan winning this race and passing it back to Toby Stewart in goal. Now Rory Williams, just on the edge of the central circle once again, passing it forward into Campbell. Campbell passing it into Danny Hollins in the centre of the park. Danny Hollins having to battle his way past Dobson, but he does well to get a pass across into Owen Borges. Owen Borges is brought down.
No,
The referee
sorry,
has...
Sorry,
Yeah.
he is protesting his innocence. That was cynical and it was blatant. So that is definitely a free kick.
Well, Gosport, they have got a free kick in return. It looks as though it's going to be Rory Williams taking it this time rather than Bradley Tarbuck.
Yellow card.
And a yellow card for the Beaconsfield defender. But yes, Rory Williams taking it. Let's just see what they can do. So far, Rory has hit a ball in towards the near post. He's hit one in towards the back post. Let's see if he mixes up this time. Williams with the free kick. Falls all the way back to Joe Morrison. Joe Morrison. And he does just pick a ball up as it is a handball. And you can see just a bit of frustration there from the former Beaconsfield man. And it looks as though he's going to be shown a yellow card. And that will be confirmed now.
That's a silly one.
Yeah, it is. I don't know why he did that.
Silly one, really. Kick the ball away, yellow card, automatic. But
You-
Gosport trailing 2-1, 8 minutes to go. This is how it is.
Well, you wonder if it's just a bit of frustration there from Joe Morrison because it is against his former side. And if I'm being honest, it hasn't been his finest game in the Borough shirt. And I would
No.
imagine this has taken part, being his former team.
Maybe. I mean, when you're out there, that shouldn't be a factor. You know, you're representing your current club, and you can always have a chat with your old mates in the bar. There's always that time and place. But when you're on the pitch wearing the yellow and blue, that's where your priorities are lying.
Well, there is a throw-in just down the left corner flag in Gosport's half. It's going to be Gosport taking it, but there's a lot of red bodies in the Gosport half, so Gosport are going to have to be careful with that. It's going to be Corey Jordan taking the throw-in. It's past to Dutchy Hollins, but Gosport still losing possession to Yearwood. Yearwood going for a shot, and it's just smacked Rory Williams in the head there, and that was a hurt. You could feel that from the press room, couldn't you, that one?
I felt that was plumb in the face, and he just collapsed, didn't he? So,
And you've just seen both two players there, Antonio Diaz and Zach Sharp, both warming up now. And I think that might have just sparked those two substitutions. And it's a shame. I would say Rory Williams, he's probably been one of our best players in the Gosport shirts.
yeah, I still think Campbell's our man of the match today. To be honest, I think he's been outstanding from first to last. I can't say that all of the Gosport players have been, and I hate to criticise my own side, but you've got to be honest when you're doing this job. That not all of them have been on their game today, but certainly he has, and Williams a close second. And Wooden's been marked to death. He has not been given any room in which to work. So that meant the burden of responsibility's fallen on Ramos up front. So he's given them something to think about, got the goal. But when you look back on this game, if it does finish the way it is now, and that's an if because we're not, you will just have to look at Beaconsfield game plan and just applaud them for it. They've come here, they've executed it, played very well, marked Gosport out of the game. The defending's been first rate most of the time. That is the bottom line. But Gosport have 6 minutes plus stoppages to dig themselves out of the hole.
Well, we saw it against Salisbury where they did get that last minute goal. So who says we can't do it today?
There's no reason they can't do it. There's still time. But they are just going to have to find a little something because I still think they're lacking a little something here.
I would have to agree with that. But it does look as though play will shortly resume. Rory Williams is back on his feet, which is a good sign to see. And it looks as though he's going to carry on by the looks of it. He's going to have a chat with a referee.
He'll have to come off and be waved back on, as is the protocol. But yeah, he got that full in the face from about 3 yards, so that would have hurt him.
Well, it's Rory Williams just leading by example once again. But yeah, will be a drop kick taken. I would imagine it's going to be Toby Stewart hoofing the ball forwards. And play will now resume. Toby Stewart taking it.
Yeah, that's a good observation from Paul in the press box, that it seemed to have been more on the ear than in the face. But either way, that would have still hurt him.
Well, it's gone all the way back to the Beaconsfield goalkeeper in Rowley. Dan Wooden did try and charge him down, but it's just a simple goalkeeping tricks there, taking as long as you can before you can eventually pick it up, wasting those precious seconds.
I'm wondering if Beaconsfield are now going to look to slow the game down and just try and delay. The job's almost done for them now. They've got to just find 5 more minutes.
Dutchy Hollins is
But
dispossessed,
I'll
and
take
it's
that.
we're going for a sure. It's taking a nick off of Roy Williams, who has just come off and come back on following that injury. But now it's Brad Shaw going down this right hand channel, manoeuvring himself into the Gosport box, and he does do well just to get into that position, but is forced out into a corner thanks to a deflection from Rory Williams.
Right, I'll take all that back. They're not looking to sit on it, are they? Oh,
No.
Actually, no, the referee's been overruled. They've given the goal kick. But no, I take it back. They're looking for that third that would absolutely kill the game off.
Well, I'm surprised at that. I thought they would have defended, but depending on their record, but
Just shows you how confident
yeah.
they are. If they're prepared to keep going at it and looking for the goal that will kill the game off outright, fair play to them. But different teams play different situations differently. And if that were Gosport at 2-1, I'd be saying shut up shop. If it was the other way around.
Yeah.
But a good time to remind our listeners that Gosport 2-1 down. With
Well, Tarbart does lift the ball into Owen Borges in the Beaconsfield box. There was petitions whether he had a handball. Tarbart lifting the ball in, finding the head of Rafa Ramos. But I did take a nick. Still, Gosport unable to get a shot across. Tarbart does take a fall, and the ball has been slashed across the face of goal. Alfie Stanley being the last man, but it wouldn't have counted anyway, as a free kick has been granted to Beaconsfield. And it looked as though it was Yazabek on the floor there, and it's going to be Tarbart getting a card.
That's awful. Sorry. Okay, it was coming together. It was a foul and a free kick, but a booking, not for me. So Brad's on a yellow now.
And
the referee made.
I'm not sure. Yeah, Gosport will be making a decision.
Looks as though it's going to be Diaz, and they're going to have to hurry up. We've got 3 minutes of normal time to go.
Well, let's just hope Antonio Diaz can be that instant impact. But
4 minutes.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen his stoppage sign yet, so yeah, we're still pondering what the time will be added on. But as I do say that, Rowley smashes the ball forward, trying to find a goal scorer, McElroy, but it's returned back to the central circle. Now Grant on the ball, passing it forward into the run of Dobson. The ball once again trying to be fed forward into Grant, but Rory Williams making sure it goes out for a Gosport throw-in. Williams taking the quick throw-in, passing it into Danny Hollins. Rory Williams just unsure what to do with it.
But again, Beaconsfield are boxing them in. So the pressure has been relentless from the visitors today. They've just pressured. And we're just waiting to see when this sub's going to happen now.
It's Alfie Stanley with a header, trying to head it through into Rafa Ramos, but instead finding Dan Wooden. Dan Wooden playing a pass across to Alfie Stanley. Oh! Alfie Stanley goes for a low-driven shot, and in the end, it hits the sponsor sign just wide of the Beaconsfield net, and that was close.
Here comes the change. We're going to find out who it's going to be coming off.
Once again, I'm not really sure who will be coming off. Maybe Danny Hollins for an attacking midfielder. That's the only one I could think of for Antonio Diaz. But
well, the trouble is they're going to have to hurry up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there's going to be no time for the substitution to have an effect. So they want to be making this change sooner rather than later. He's ready, but who is it going to be coming off?
Well, we'll find out in a minute. I'm not sure if the ref has... Oh, the ref has played on, so we're seeing the next bit of stoppage. But a ball has trickled all the way back to Toby Stewart. And Joe Morrison is going to now take the ball after Toby Stewart rolls it to the defender.
Well, the ball's live, so Gosport have just got to wait until we have a stoppage of some kind for this substitution.
Borges trying to thread a ball into Alfie Stanley. Alfie Stanley on the edge of the Beaconsfield box, delivering a cross, falling all the way back to Christian Campbell. And it's a good first touch from the midfielder, but just being dispossessed from English there. And English might be able to clear his lines now as he hoofs one forward.
Right, that's gone for the throw. Should see the change now.
Well, Antonio Diaz, he is about to come on. The referee signalling to the other referee. And it's going to be Antonio Diaz. And it's like I said, it's going to be Danny Hollins coming off for Antonio Diaz. So a defensive midfielder coming on for an attacking midfielder. And it's what you want to see, really, in the dying moments of the game. And it's probably the smart decision from the two management team there. So, literally, we will see a change of formation. But the only formation will be in that midfield where... Well, Antonio Diaz, he will replace Danny Hollins. So, like I was saying to the viewers, it won't really see too much of a change in formation, just a change in midfield, where rather than being defensive, we will go attacking.
Yeah, we're going to need to stop.
And we're going to load of stoppage time. He's come back.
He's going to dial it back.
And the throw-in has been taken and play has resumed. It's McElroy down this right-hand channel trying to thread a ball into Grant. But it has taken the nick as it does go out for a Beaconsfield throw-in. And this is where we will find the minutes added on. And it's going to be 6 minutes added on. And that will definitely be pleasing towards the Gosport fans. Many fans, I believe, would have been expecting the 4-minute region, but I would definitely be happy with the 6 minutes. And once again, it's a bit of argy-bargy between Borges and Grant. But now it's Rory Williams playing it low, driven pass into Campbell. Campbell exchanged into the centre of the park into Borges. Borges into Joe Morrison. Gosport still unable to escape out their own half, but a ball from Jordan does find the header of Rafa Ramos 20 yards out from goal. Rafa just on the edge of the box. Rafa just doing well to keep it in play still after it did take a nick off of Yearwood, but it's Tarbach back to Rafa Ramos. Rafa might line up a shot, and that's a lovely shot. And the rebound might be followed up by Dan Wooden, who somehow can't finish it once again. But what a shot that was from Rafa Ramos. That was like a goal you would see from the international stages. The goal on that shot, it was a proper knuckleball.
You've got to give the keeper credit for that. You really do. And then some smart defending to block the follow-up from Dan Wooden. Gosport are now pushing. And with 4 minutes of stoppage time left, they have got to. They have no choice. They need to. But then corners like that don't help anyone. That was a poor delivery. And there's a throw on the right-hand side. I think it is Christian Campbell with it. So Gosport need to get a move on, really. Campbell looking for the cross. And it's sort of going all the way across the box here. I think that might have been Joe Morrison with the effort, but the red shirts are like a swarm around them there. There was no way that was going anywhere other than back out towards safety for Beaconsfield. Beaconsfield are on the break here. It's McElroy. He's got his 1-on-2. Now, can he hold on to the ball? No, he's been dispossessed. Williams draws the foul. That's a free kick to Gosport. James is tweeting, so I'll talk you through the next few moments. Now, Gosport have the free kick. We have 3 minutes of the 6 left, and it's a change for Beaconsfield. They are making a change.
3 on. 12 off.
And there has been a change from Beaconsfield. It will be a defensive change as number 12 comes off for number 3, and that will be Ben Van Ulrich. Oh, well, I would say if we don't have any more chances after that, that was our chance to get it.
That should have been it. And we've got about 90, sorry, we've got just over 90 seconds to 2 minutes of the 6 remaining. So Gosport are running out of time here.
Well, it's a free kick taken. Joe Morrison trying to head it down to Antonio Diaz, but it's returned back to the centre third. McElroy, he could be the man who's won Beaconsfield the game. Still marching forward, passing it into Grant. Grant back into McElroy. Can McElroy get on the end of it? But a smart defending from Tarbach, just getting in front of the attacker, making sure he can't get on the end of the attack.
Yeah, Tarbach was last man there, and Beaconsfield had a throw. So Gosport being frustrated in their attempts to equalise, and it does look like now 2-1 down with about a minute of the 6 added on, that they are facing their second home defeat of the season square in the face.
Seconds left in this game. Beaconsfield 2, Gosport 1. Just had that chance moments ago where we should have got a goal. But there's just a tug of battle. Christian Campbell, just by the right corner flag in Gosport's half. Still unable to clear it out of the Gosport half. Now Owen Borges still trying to battle his way past Grant, but Owen Borges is brought down to the floor. This might be Gosport's last chance to get an attack with the free kick.
So. I would say so. This is it. Last chance saloon, James.
Joe Morrison striding forward.
Get the equaliser, go.
Many yellow bodies in front of him. Bradley Tarbach has the ball. Threading the ball into Alfie Stanley, but Alfie Stanley loses the battle into Jazabek. And also fouls him, like Jeremy says. And there has been a foul awarded for Beaconsfield. And I think that might have just won Beaconsfield the game.
Yeah, I think so. We've got 20 seconds of the time added on. Actually, no, I've miscalculated. We've got about a minute left. So they might get one more chance. But
it's going to have to be quick from Gosport if we do want this.
Turn this around. Beaconsfield free kick. Gosport will have to get the ball back, turn it around quickly and do something drastic fast.
Well, you can see Beaconsfield here just wasting their time, and the referee not even acknowledging it, as it's going to be the keeper Rowley taking it. Oh, let's just hope Gosport might be able to salvage a late point, but it's looking very likely in the final
Yeah, it's
couple
looking
of
its watch.
seconds.
He's telling Beaconsfield to get on with it because he's basically said to them, the more you waste time, the more I'm adding it on. So fair play to the referee for that. He's not standing for it. Now, Gosport come again.
Owen Borges down the centre of the park. Once again, has numerous players in front of him. Even Toby Stewart's starting to come a bit more forward. But it's out wide to Christian Campbell in this left-hand channel. Every man's forward, and the ball has been hit into the middle, and it's good. Yeah, it's taken a nick off of what looked like Jazabek, and it will be a Gosport corner.
Right, this is it, James. Last chance saloon. There is no more time after this.
Well, it's still or die, isn't it?
Now or never.
Well,
Now
surely, I don't see why we're not seeing the likes of Rory Williams and even Toby Stewart go into the box. Why not? We can't lose, so why not go for it?
Gamble. Yeah, not at this point. Yeah.
So Christian Campbell is going to be the man taking the corner. He took that corner against Salisbury. It was the last touch of the game. So who says we can't do it now? Christian Campbell with a corner, and it's a high corner, falling to the back post. Finds the head of Joe Morrison, but it's going to trickle all the way back to Rafa Ramos on the edge of the box. He had a shot moments ago, lining up another shot, but it's gone out. The referee still hasn't blown up.
No, he's allowing it.
He's looking at his watch. Christian Campbell with a throw-in down the touchline. He's passing it to Owen Borges. Owen Borges going to keep it in Gosport play. Christian Campbell with the last cross of the game, surely. And it's headed out by Yazabek. And surely that's going to be the win for Beaconsfield. And he's dispossessed once upon a time. And now it's McElroy through on goal. Acres of space. He's got Bradley Tarbart next to him. But I would imagine McElroy's just going to run it out of play. The referee blows his whistle. And it's Beaconsfield who takes home the 3 points. It's a 2-1 victory from the Beaconsfield side. And in the end, despite losing 2-1, I must say it was a very interesting game. Beaconsfield, it was a 0-0 first half, but 3-goal thriller in the second half sees Beaconsfield take home the 3 points. Gosport definitely had their chances, and we did get back in the game thanks to a goal. But in the end, it's a game where Gosport must feel disappointed, surely.
Desperately disappointed. But first things first, congratulations to Beaconsfield. They've come here with a game plan, executed it perfectly, played well, defended stoutly, and they've done the job they came to do. So you have to congratulate them. From Gosport's point of view, I don't think they coped with that very well, though. They came up against a supremely organised visiting team. I don't think they figured it out, and I don't think they did enough. So I don't think they did enough to get a result from this. So I have to say Beaconsfield deserved it, chapeau. But what is important now, with 4 days to the next home game, is Gosport learn the lessons, regroup, go again, and they must get a result Wednesday.
Well, Paul, they're another good team. We didn't beat them the first time we played them this season, but they have had a bit of a fall from grace. So what can we expect then?
Expect another tough game because Paul are a team we struggle to beat at the best of times. They're still a good side. Yes, they've lost a lot of players, and they have fallen from grace somewhat, but in this division, James, every game is difficult for a variety of different reasons, and that's what makes it such a tough league to play in. And if you are going to get out of this league, you're going to do it the hard way.
Well, it's finished here, 2-1 to Beaconsfield. It's a away side who takes home the 3 points. It's a bit unfortunate for Gosport, but we go again this Wednesday. Jeremy, you know how to end the commentary. Final words, as always, up the borough.